Goodbye. No use leading with our chins. This is where our story ends. Never lovers, ever friends. Goodbye. Let our hearts call it a day. But before you walk away, I sincerely want to say, I wish you bluebird in the spring, to give your heart a song to sing, and then a kiss. But more than this, I wish you love.
Howdy folks, how you guys doing today? I recently had a birthday. These are my birthday presents. I'm 48 years old, older than fuck. And I went up in the mountains for 5 days, and these are my birthday present to myself. I've actually wanted them for a couple years now. Just checking out like YouTube reviews, Olav's Gadgets, that guy, and some other ones. You know, checking out reviews where they're actually playing the speakers. You could tell very, very quickly that these things, for the size and the weight, which is 5 pounds for these three, I had someone weigh these, they're fairly unmatched. There are some other speakers that can beat them in overall like loudness levels and bass levels, but on camera they don't come across better. So I bought them thinking probably that they would be at least as good as I was hoping, you know, from the videos I saw. Also, just to mention, before I bought these, I bought the Anker X600 3D spatial Bluetooth speaker. It's actually about this big, a little bit higher maybe, and it's got a handle, and it's all metal, and it's actually 5 pounds, so it weighs as much as this 3-piece right here. So I got that in and I tried it out, and here's exactly what I thought of that. I had seen some YouTube reviews where people are just peeing their panties about that thing, so I figured, you know, 3D sound, that's my favorite, let's do it. Got that thing in, tested it out. It is in fact kind of loud, not even close. It's not even half as loud as these things, just straight up. But you know, loud enough probably. Decent bass, okay. It has that like woofy quality that a lot of Bluetooth speakers have. It sounds a little woody and woofy. But then you flip on the 3D audio button, and there's like an up-firing speaker, which certainly gave it a little bit of like height. I actually think it's more of a DSP thing rather than the speaker firing up, but it gave you a little more height to the sound and depth, like, you know, far away to close to you. But what it didn't do, which I was really, really unhappy with, is there was the wideness factor was just shit on them. So that speaker was like, you know, maybe about this big, and that's exactly how the sound sounded, was like that big, like, you know, like not, if that's 3D, you know, it was much higher and like deeper, but like just that, like a pinpoint source, like, nah. The thing is $200, and I was like, that's just not good enough. So let's just go for the big enchilada, right? That's these. These things are expensive as shit. They're $180 a piece, 1, 2, and then this thing is $160. So this is like $520, I think, for this rig. Just to mention, they do aptX Bluetooth, and I think that's about it. Also SBC, nobody cares about that. And that actually makes me wonder. I don't know if iPhones can do aptX. They might not, in which case these things are going to sound like a level shittier than they would on any of my stuff, which has a LG. You know, it's an Android phone. Let me just go over this real quick. So I have right now this pair, right? These are in stereo pair mode with the auxiliary jack running into a subwoofer. You can also buy another subwoofer or 2 more of these, and you can gang them all together into this gigantic mini PA system. These are designed to be a PA system, like a mini one, mobile. Let me just go through the app real quick. That's this top button, or top over here in the green. This is the charge level. You can't, let's see. 100% power out over here. So power out means that you can, these are actually power banks. The charging cable over here, you plug into this middle jack, and it has an out and an in, and you can plug a phone into it if you have the power out on, and I guess you could power your stuff. Cool. Apparently these have like 100 hours of battery life on like medium to low levels, and then like maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 or something on like ultra high, like loud, like as loud as they get. They got a big battery. We'll just say that. This thing is like a playlist button. I don't know what the hell. This is mute. This will switch you between two different phones. You could have like A phone and a B phone. So that's the source. This button will do EQ. You got loud, studio, and yeah, the app is glitchy. It says no EQ with. I don't know what the hell. I don't really use a lot of these very much. Let's see. Let's try again. Can you give me something there? Okay, custom, which is like. So there's the bands. You can flip stuff, and the app is being a big glitchy piece of shit as usual. Volume control is mostly where I'm hanging out in. So you got stuff like this is the actual volume for the mini rigs, and then you have the sub over there. Let me turn this all the way down and play it.
When snowflakes fall, I wish you.
So, just real quick. They are loud as shit! They're so loud I could barely yell over them. They're insanely loud. It's like, Jesus Christ, they're loud. I think these are, I want to say 40 watts a speaker. Seriously? So this is 80 watts, and this thing is maybe like 30? I'm in the ballpark of that. This is a lot of wattage, actually. That's RMS. These can get so loud that if you put them in a room, you're rocking the room out. Reasonably small room anyway. So it was my 48th birthday, and I went up to the yurt. I spent 5 days up there. I ordered these right before I got there. Mini Rig got them to me in 3 days. I actually ordered the minis. And immediately said, what the fuck am I doing? I'm just going for the big boys, man. I want the best. So I canceled those. Got a hold of support, and they canceled them for me before they sent them over a weekend, which is cool. Got these to me in 3 days, which is enough time to go up to the yurt with them. Hiked them up there. 1, 2, 3. These are 5 pounds. Not a lot. Not too much. They're not super light, but they're, compared to the Anker X600, which is like also 5 pounds and also this big. These blow them out of the water by a million times. Of course, they're much more expensive, $200 versus $520. But point is, I don't care about that. If I'm mobile, I want to know space. I want to know the size and the weight. Those are the things that matter. So I held these up to the yurt, 11,000 feet over like 2.5 miles, and it was fine, no problems. They're not heavy. I actually hiked a bunch of other stuff up. But so that was my first experience with these. I put those on, and they blew me absolutely away. Like, just blew me into next week. I could not believe how good these sounded in the yurt. Now, when I first started putting them on, I was like this, right? Directional, I don't know, pinpoint, whatever you want to call it. They're like forward facing like this. So I had them sitting on a wall, and then the subwoofer there, and I rocked them out for 3 days. They had the best time ever. The fidelity on these things is phenomenal. And then on the last day, I'm like, well, why didn't they give like feet for these, right? So you could like sit them like that. I mean, you could do that, but why didn't they do that? So I'm like, well, these look like feet, so I'll just stick them like this, whatever. And I just like wasn't really thinking about anything. I'll just stick them like that so they don't roll around, and then I was rocking around doing stuff, and it occurred to me immediately that something is up with this. These things have more 3D coming out of them than I've ever heard out of speakers before facing up. So I did some testing, and I did some stuff, and at the end of all of this, like when these are up facing, I'm going to call that 3D spatial sound. They're fucking amazing. As long as you're like between them, you could space these out in a room. And that's really the key thing, right? Like Bluetooth speakers are one fixed box. These you can set out, you can separate them by 8, 10, 15 feet, whatever, right? And you can also elevate them above your ears or below, depending on how you want the sound to hit you. You can also face them towards you or up. Or, when they're facing towards you, it doesn't matter if they're up or down compared to your ears, but it does matter if they're facing up and your ears are higher level or lower level. So the best 3D that I had was actually, I was laying on the floor flat, and I had these up about 6 feet in the air, about 10 feet away from me, sitting on some bunk beds actually. And I was just tripping out. It was like, it's hard to put this into words, but it's like I turned on a 3D effect, except I didn't. And 4 hours later, I was just flipping through tracks, like just tripping out on how 3D these sounded. I've got speakers. I've tried a bunch of speakers, but these things, they're special somehow. I guess maybe the drivers themselves are actually really, really high quality. I'm not sure how this works. Maybe they're tuned that way, but holy shit are these 3D. It was enough to make me trip out and just sit there and just, try different tracks and try different stuff to see what would sound different. And I was having a ball. So then yesterday I just put this on video, but I hiked up, obviously I came home, but I have a backpack. It's got side-facing pockets, like so, and they have mesh on the outsides to put in whatever. And these fit perfectly, so I'm like, cool, let's do it. Stuck those in my backpack, went up at like 5 p.m., just say this, that trail etiquette indicates you don't do this, and I know that fully, so don't yell at me. But I had these cranked up to 3/4, and that's loud. It's so loud. So these are below my ears on my backpack, sitting around my like waist level, and sitting like this. They did this thing where like at the top, I'll just roll off the desk anyway. But my ears are obviously way above this, but it created this center focused image that seemed like it was right in front of my face, like really seemed like it was in front of my face. And then sound was swirling around my head and around my body. And it's not like, oh, it's kind of like that. No, it was very, very visceral. Like I was absolutely tripping out. And my friend of mine had some of the headphones I've tuned, and he took them off, and I'm like, hey, dude, can you hear this? Like, I don't know if it's just me. And these were so loud that they were echoing off the canyon we were hiking up, and he was tripping out too, because canyon acoustics or something like that. But he like, no, I can hear your music. It's really nice. So we just hiked up together listening to these things, and that was one of the most astonishing like experiences I've ever had, which is bizarre. I mean, geez, I've hiked a million times, and I've got headphones, IEMs, all kinds of stuff. But this, they created this like bubble of 3D sound around my body and my head that was fucking incredible. I'm gonna do it again and just make sure I don't run into people, because like people will probably murder me. This is like the worst trail etiquette ever. So that's my story on that. I put a video out. You could kind of hear the phone wasn't picking up the high end like my ears were, because it was nice and not trebly, but it had good detail, good resolution, good everything. But the 3D was just jeez, man. It's like virtual surround sound with me in the middle of it and just wrapping around me as I was walking up in the middle of nowhere. But in a room, if you stick these four up facing and you put them, say, above your ears or below your ears, you get a different effect. Both are awesome. And truly, I don't know if you can get this out of anything else. I mean, obviously these are mobile, so you could stick them anywhere without screwing around with wires and whatever. They're also extremely loud. They're also extremely high quality drivers. They're also extremely expensive. But I just don't know if you can get this kind of thing out of... I've never heard it out of normal speakers. There may be some that exist, but I just haven't heard them. So bottom line is, this is worth the money and more. I would pay a lot for these now that I know what they are. I may or may not buy more, because like I do use these mobily, and this is already right at the limit about what size and the weight that I really want to deal with. But just sticking these in my backpack, it was fine, no problems. That wasn't like enough weight to do anything. I could run actually with these on in there. It was just one of the best experiences of my whole life, honestly, with music. So in terms of the fidelity, these are a lot thicker sounding than they would seem like they would be. They sound like full big speakers. I mean, it's like 5 to 8 inches. They're thick, organic, juicy. The treble is right in the pocket. These by themselves have a really nice amount of bass, plenty. This adds a little bit of meaty low end to it, which is super nice. If you turn this off while these are on, you'll notice, but if you don't have it on, you probably won't care that much. You can plug in these are auxiliary ins or outs. So you could plug in a phone directly. You could plug in, I don't know, they're like a mini PA, so you can just plug in any kind of audio thing to them, and you can pair them in any method that you'd want. They're incredibly flexible in terms of that. Also dropped them right out of my backpack on the way back down. My zipper fell open and they didn't get dented. I'm probably lucky about that, but I have them in these nice cases, which you can rock inside the case while they're on. like so. So they have some amount of protection, and there's enough like padding around here so that if you drop it, and also on the bottom, it's not gonna like fucking dent the thing. So I find this like extremely well thought out, well built. This is very high quality metal, by the way. It's not plastic. This is rubber. This is metal over here. They get incredibly loud, but mostly it's the 3D and just the fact that these are portable and they sound so incredibly good that you can put them anywhere. I'm just over the moon with these things. It's a rare occurrence that I spend $507 on some audio stuff and actually get blown away to the level that, like, let's just say these broke. I'm buying another pair like now, right? They're that good. So they get the highest recommendation possible for mobile audiophile stuff. I explained what the deal is. You know, if they work for your situation, then they work. Like camping, out in the backyard, you know, stuff like that. Just next level backpacking with these guys. Jesus Christ, they're amazing. Although, you know, you might get stabbed by some irate hiker that wants their peace and quiet. Right on. Also, it's Chase. Thanks for all the information. It's just Chase. He's got a pair of these and been talking to him, and he kind of convinced me to just go for the big boys. So we did, and God, I love these things. Right on. Talk to you later.